Welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Unveiling with your host, psychic medium, and lead investigator for the Paranormal Science Investigators team, Josh. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show while we talk about pretty much whatever the hell we want, as long as it's weird, true, creepy, controversial, or informative about the paranormal. So follow me as I try to give you a peek behind the veil. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Unveiling, where you can get your weekly dose of paranormal addiction. If you guys have ever doubted that I don't put in hard work to get your favorite creators on the show, I think this episode has to be like the defining reason for how much work I put into this to get the people that you love to see. Today I have Jenn with Extreme Screamz, and most of you know Jenn from Extreme Screamz. It's an honor to have you on the show. I'm so happy that you accepted the invite. I'm really glad that you're here. How you been?
I've been good. How have you been?
Good. I'm hanging in there fair to middling.
I hear you.
You've had a lot of big changes in your life lately with a new house, I understand.
I did, and what's cool is I actually moved to a ghost town. So,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it easier, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome. So I want to get into a few questions with you, but before we do that, I want to make sure everybody can find you on your social medias, wherever you'd like them to find you. If you want to explain, what platforms you are, what's your account name, and all that good stuff, where can we find you on social media?
Right now, Instagram, TikTok. I got in trouble on YouTube, so we got to start that over.
Okay.
But it's Extreme Screamz, so it's XTREMESCREAMZ.
Awesome. And that's through all the platforms, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Now we know
I gotta redo TikTok. I mean, YouTube.
Yeah.
I was a bad girl.
Yeah, it's, with any of these platforms nowadays, it's like you get bananaed for just about anything, and you don't even have to do anything to get bananaed anymore.
Right?
Just the way, I don't know, just the trolls take over, I guess. So let me get into a few paranormal questions here.
Okay.
How did you get started in doing the paranormal? Because like, I know I've called you before and said, hey, I've got a case. I know you do you travel and stuff sometimes for cases. I've called you before, but how did you actually get into paranormal?
Oh yeah, I actually travel all over the place. Believe it or not, I started from a near-death experience.
Oh, wow.
So something happened, and I realized in that moment that we don't just die. Like the TV doesn't just shut off.
Right.
So then I got really curious, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to check this out. So I actually started as a complete skeptic. I'm like, this is bullshit. It can be like debunked.
Right.
The wind blew, there was a vent. But after what happened to me, like I flatlined, like I was done.
Wow.
After that, and I saw what I saw, I wanted to know, was I dreaming? Was I hallucinating? Was I didn't know. So I wanted to know.
That's
And
understandable.
like I said, I went in as a complete skeptic. But after doing this, things have happened that I cannot explain, and I am 100% a believer now.
Right. That seems to be the case with anybody who really gets into this. In the beginning, I was the same way, where it's like, come on, this really. I had experiences throughout my life, but I thought a lot of the things that were happening people could be explained.
Right,
You
right.
know, so even though, I'm a psychic medium and an investigator and have been doing this thing since I was a kid, I still have a healthy skepticism. And I think I don't know how you feel, but I think that's important for investigators to have a healthy skepticism.
Well, absolutely,
What
because
they're
that
doing.
way, when we are out, people know that we're being real and we're going to go and try to debunk it. We're going to be like, okay,
Right.
did that happen? Is it legit? Did I really hear that? Did I? Because the last thing that I will do is fake anything. Like,
Right.
I'm going out there to find real, true evidence,
Right.
not pull strings. Like, you know how many fake videos are out there,
Right.
and yeah, they go viral and they do great, but that's not why I'm in this business. I want to do it to actually get answers and find out what really happens when we die, what's on the other side.
Right.
Are ghosts real? Are demons real? Are whatever you want to call them, apparitions, anything?
Mhm.
And I'll tell you what, I'm finding out real quick that they are.
Right. And
They definitely are.
I'm in the same camp with you. But I always tell people, not everything is paranormal. Sometimes we hear, knocks and noises and things happen that we can explain. And
Right,
you should be doing that. If you're looking for the truth, like, you are,
right.
you have to, that's I think it's
Absolutely.
well,
Absolutely.
you kind of segued into one of the questions I have on my list here that I want to ask you is, do you believe that demons are real?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100% without a doubt.
Without a doubt. In fact, I haven't told anyone this, so you're the first one.
Okay.
I'm actually studying and doing what's needed to become a full-fledged demonologist.
Awesome. Awesome.
So that's what I want to do. Like, yeah, I'm a paranormal investigator, but I, I really, really want to be a demonologist. So I'm learning about, like incubus and succubus, like all the different demons, and
Right.
that's what I really, really want to do.
You know, uh, it's pretty rare that somebody
Especially a
actually wants to
female.
get. That's very true. Like most of the demonologists you find are male.
Correct.
Um, Now, I don't know what your religious background is, but a lot of demonologists tend to be Christian, which is kind of odd for me, but um, I think that's awesome. Not many people really go looking for the things that scare people.
I don't want to put a label on it. I wouldn't say that I'm not Christian, but I'm more pagan, Wiccan, metaphysical.
Right.
That's more the route. I don't know.
Yeah, you're kind of like me. You're kind of multifaceted.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, if I was like true 100% Christian, then obviously my issue is they don't accept the LGBT very well.
Right.
Um, I am bisexual, so they don't really take that very kindly. Um, and then my second issue is, if I was true Christian, what would they do if I play Ouija board all the time in
Right.
my haunted locations.
Right.
So it's like, I can't say that I'm full-fledged like Christian because that wouldn't be honest.
Right, right. I understand. I think I understand where you're coming from. It's not that you're a non-believer or
Exactly.
or anything. It's just that
Exactly.
you've tailored your beliefs around your experiences. I think probably more so.
Right. Right.
So let me ask you. You're one of the few people that doesn't mind messing with a Ouija board. Uh,
Do it all the time.
how do you feel about it? Just
I
another
think,
tool?
well, okay, before everyone hears this and starts messing around with stuff they shouldn't,
Right,
I'm very, very careful.
right,
And I know how to protect myself before I use said board.
right,
You have to know what you're doing, because you're not you that's opening a whole nother door. You're
right,
not like, if I'm in a haunted location and I want to talk to Tom, that's haunting this hotel. When you're doing the board, you're getting anything. You don't know what you're getting. Like,
Right.
that's opening up a whole new, so you have to make sure that you're protected. Like, I wear like crazy jewelry. I'm not going to give out details, but I have rituals that I do before every haunted location. I know
Okay.
how to protect myself. Now, with that being said, is my house haunted because of everywhere I go? Oh, yeah. Does stuff follow me home? Oh, yeah. But we have
That's
like an agreement. I'm like, okay, look, dude, I'm trying to sleep. You need to go like haunt in the living room because I'm in my
right.
bedroom.
Right. That was
So,
actually one of the questions that have you ever had something follow you home from an investigation?
oh, bad,
Right.
bad.
Now, have you
Yep.
ever had an experience that I don't know, I almost kind of hate to ask this question, but sometimes people get things follow them home that are a little more traumatic or maybe not something they want around them. Have you ever had something bad come with you?
I had something really bad and I had to get it removed.
I understand. I
I
understand.
literally had to like call a professional, like bad,
Right.
bad.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And oh, I don't know what you would say to folks who are out there investigating or wanting to get into the paranormal field. Um, but I always try to tell people, 95% of what you're gonna encounter is does not want to hurt you, but you have to be prepared for, that 5% that could.
No, that's true. I don't worry about being physically hurt. I worry more about like possession and oppression,
Right.
and because it does happen. I mean, it happens. It can mess with your emotional state. I mean, let's be real, John. When's the last time you heard on the news woman killed by ghost? So that's why I'm not scared to like go to
Right.
all these places. And normally I go alone. I mean, aside from filming with Ghost Adventures, I'm normally by myself.
Right.
So I'll go to these places alone and go down into the basement and play the Ouija board. And I don't know. I literally have no fear, like
Right.
none.
Now let me ask you, does that stem from um knowing that your protections that you use and the work that you do beforehand works, or is it
No,
just
I think it stems that I'm, oh, I almost dropped the F bomb, that I'm freaking crazy.
right? Okay. I mean,
I
it
mean, let's
makes
be
sense.
real. Every paranormal investigator is a little different.
Yes, we are. You have to admit that.
I
I
mean,
mean,
we
we
like the dark stuff. We like
right,
skulls and yeah.
right,
I don't know. I'm not afraid at all.
right. Yeah, and I think I think I was the same way too. I went just kind of headlong into anything. I didn't have protections. I didn't care. I was just I want to see what's out there. And I think
Right.
that caused me some trouble because I wasn't
Mhm.
prepared spiritually for some of the things that I came across. Um,
Perfect example. Believe it or not, you can call me crazy. The whole house fire,
mhm.
I think that was paranormal related.
So I've never went on record and gave my opinion, um,
Mhm.
but I absolutely believe you're right.
Yes. Like, okay, perfect example. I went to Zach Megan's haunted museum in Vegas, right?
Hmm.
And I accidentally like leaned up against this is before it was enclosed, the Dybbuk box he has.
Hmm.
And the guide freaked out. She's like, oh my God, don't touch it, don't touch it. I left there and was in a fatal car accident.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's why I thought about it. And I'm like, I'm wondering if because of what you surrounded yourself in, if the
Right.
house fire had something to do with somewhere you went or something paranormal.
Uh, yeah, I'll be honest with you, it's a little hard to explain and it's a little hard to talk about. But in a nutshell, the things that I do, because I do work on the dark end of mediumship and stuff like that. Um,
Mhm.
some of the things that I was doing, I think I drew in malevolent spirits
Absolutely.
as I was trying to get rid of them, and that happened in the meantime before I could get rid of them.
Yep. Yep.
Right. And
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up if you
No,
did want to
that's
like out
fine.
it,
That's
but
fine. I haven't said that to anybody. It's funny that you picked up on that. Um, which leads into the next
I'm
question.
not too stupid. No.
Which leads into the next question.
What's
Uh,
that?
do you have any psychic or mediumship abilities?
I do. I just am not open about it because people look at us like we're crazy.
Right. Believe
So,
me, I know.
like for example, I recently was asked this by a close friend, and they said, "Well, when you see a ghost, what's it look like?" And everyone has like this, I don't want to say imagination, that's not the right word. Everyone has this perception that it's like Hollywood, that they're like smoky looking and they're misty and they,
Right.
no, they look like you and me. Like
Right.
I can make out clothes and I can make out the buttons on their shirt and I can make out hair color and like they look like a person.
Right.
They look
Right.
real. And
Absolutely.
everyone's like thinking like they look like some mist or something.
Right.
They don't.
No,
I
I
see them in 3D.
okay. Wow. Now
3D.
is it every time or is that a common for you to see?
90% of the time. I can literally see them in 3D.
Wow, that's awesome. Because I see mostly I see images, but it's in my head, like I'm almost like a memory.
Oh, like your third eye is seeing like the
Right. Yeah.
right,
Sometimes that picture is so strong that it actually affects my physical vision.
right.
That's the majority. There have been times where I have seen it straight on with my eyes. Um, I remember when I first went on this journey, I actually saw death faces for some of them.
Oh God.
Exactly how they died, like how they would be sitting in their, casket or whatever.
Oh, thank God I don't see that. Okay.
Right. So I had to work really hard to kind of change that perception on my journey. So I wasn't, because it scared the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
I was not prepared. I was
Now
not
I
prepared.
have like driven down a freeway and out of the blue, like to the point like it almost caused a wreck. Like wherever there's been an accident and a fatality,
Hmm.
I will be driving and all of a sudden a person will pop up right in the middle of the damn road, and I'm like, oh crap. But then I
Right.
realized, oh, don't swerve. It's a ghost, not a real person.
Right. Right. Yeah. I've had similar issues where they were sitting in the seat of my truck next to me. Um, and we had a fatal accident in front of the rental house I was at while the house was getting built. And I come home one evening and it was dark, and I saw the man that passed away sitting on the side of the road in front of my driveway that went down to my house.
Oh damn.
And I don't know, is it when that started happening for you, was it traumatic at all? Did it freak you out, or you just kind of were
No, because I didn't realize it, but after talking to my mom and family, I guess I've been doing this since I could talk. And
okay?
she's like, I always thought you had an imaginary friend. And I'd be in the corner and like talking away. And she's like, who are you talking to? And then I would describe them. And then, of course, it would freak out my mom. And she's like, wait a minute. So
Right.
I've been doing it for a while now.
That's awesome. So you're just a natural at it. It's come to you since birth, basically.
Yes.
Now let
Yeah,
me ask you. uh,
my mom, myself, my daughter, we all have, yeah, but we're all different gifts.
Right. So that's what I was just about to ask you is where you got it passed down, because typically it kind of follows a family line where it's kind of
Yes.
passed down and you pass it to your kids.
My mom is incredibly psychic, won't use it. Um, I think she kind of like feels like I do. Like if she tells someone that they're gonna think she's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Um, extremely psychic. A perfect example. All right, I'll give you a story. Her and I were just sitting having dinner, and the waiter came up, and my mom goes, "Oh my God, I'm really sorry, but your girlfriend is right behind you." He went white and went, "She just passed away. How did you know that I had a girlfriend?" Described everything. And then my mom said, by the way, she said she really appreciates your tattoo you got of her on your back.
Hmm.
he lost it again, turned around in the restaurant and literally lifted his shirt, and it was her picture, her name, and a tattoo of her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my mom is like, she's
Wow.
better than I am. Like, she is on it.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I've noticed that like for me, it came from my grandfather to my mother, who completely denies it.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
she would deny it if you asked her. To me, and then now down to my daughter, and a little bit to my son too. But that's awesome. You've got a leg up on a lot of people. Like, my journey really didn't start till kind of my 40s, because I didn't want anything to do with it. When I was a kid, I would hear people talk before they actually spoke.
40s. I am old as AF.
Well, I'm not 40
Sorry,
anymore.
you two.
I'm not 40 anymore, but that's when I really started my personal journey to understand it better. I'd have
Right,
things ever since I was a kid, seeing things,
right,
hearing people, hearing people that weren't there, hearing people talk, like living people talk before they actually said anything.
right.
But it wasn't until I turned about 40-ish. I'm not going to say how old I am now, but uh, where I really
Oh,
just
I will.
accepted it.
I will. I will be 48 on April 27th.
And you look marvelous.
Thank you.
Marvelous, darling. In my best Zsa Zsa Gabor voice. You look marvelous, darling.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I'm fascinated by other mediums. And you've kind of given the story now. I always ask how your gifts present, because a lot of us are so unique that
Right,
things don't always happen. How you get information is not the same as how I would.
right.
But
Like, I've
that's
gone to locations and done collabs, and you know how like we use all the machines and all that,
right.
and I'll literally look at, I won't say his name. I look at him, I'm like, no, that's not what they said. They said this.
Mhm.
And I didn't know any history. And this is without a spirit box, without anything. He looked at me and goes, what? And I go, they just told me that's not what happened. And sure enough, we researched it. And so
Right.
I can come talking to me too. So,
Right. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
get that a lot
sometimes
too.
it's a gift, but sometimes it's not.
Right. Sometimes it's not. I almost hate to call it a gift. I call it an ability, because sometimes it doesn't feel like a gift when something pops up. And
I don't know. I think it's a gift.
overall, I would agree. Overall, I agree. I just
I
had a
mean,
few
I'm trying
experiences.
to be more positive about it because it scares the shit out of me. So we're
Yeah.
gonna call it a gift.
Yeah. I agree with you. Um, I think, how do you feel about having mediums on your paranormal team? Because
Oh, I love
we see a lot
it. Love it.
a lot of
Love it.
teams now have a medium on their team.
Yep. Love it. Absolutely love it. Because then
Right.
that way you can kind of compare and go,
Right.
okay, are you feeling the same thing I am, or what's going on? Or so, I mean, nobody in this field is a professional. So the more people we have, the better. Like, if anyone says they're professional, I'm sorry, it's bullshit. No,
Right.
there is no such thing as a professional paranormal investigator. We're all learning. We're all,
Right.
especially with all the new equipment coming out and
Yes.
anything. No one's a professional.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
bogus.
I would agree. There's no experts of the paranormal. There
Mm-mm.
might be some experts
No,
in the paranormal, but they're experts on photography, or
or
equipment
editing,
building.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
sound, or yeah,
Right. Yeah. But there's no experts of the paranormal. There's
no,
can't be, because
no.
we work on a lot of theory, and as much science as we try to use, there's no
Right.
100%.
Well, how can we be experts when we're still all trying to figure out what's going on?
Right.
Like, we don't really know what's going on the other side.
Right.
So there is no expert. Yeah, I'm like, no.
I agree. I agree. Uh, so now you've been on a show. Um, so I wanted to ask this question of you. What do you think in general of the paranormal shows that are out there for people to watch? Um, Would you say good, bad? Maybe if you want realistic, not watch them. How do you feel about them?
Oh man, this one's hard. Um, I think they're made for TV.
Entertainment. Yeah.
Um, I think it's a lot of, oh, what was that? And freaking out and
Dramatics.
the dramatics and I have to be careful what I say. I'm sorry.
Right. No, I understand.
Yeah, it's Hollywoodized, I guess is the best word.
Right.
Like it's
Okay.
Hollywood. Like I mean, I guess that's how they got their TV shows, but that's just not me.
Right. It draws people in, of course.
Right. It's it's entertainment.
Right. Absolutely. Now, let me ask you.
Well, like that stuff doesn't happen. Like, do you know how rare it is to have poltergeist like activity, like have
Right.
something fly across the room or it, it's made for TV?
Right.
Well,
Right.
I'll just leave it at that.
Right. So, let me ask you, is there an instance that you've had while you're, investigating, something could be a piece of evidence, could be a situation that you were in. Um, have you had an experience that really touched your heart, like something that will go to the grave with you as a beautiful experience?
Beautiful, no, but I have one that I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks, and I'm not scared. Like
Right.
it was so insane. In fact, I don't think I would go back there. Like it was that crazy. It was very demonic. It was the first time I was ever scratched on a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't really fake that. So I was
Right.
scratched, and without any equipment, audibly heard him growl at me. Got that on camera. I terrified me. Like I don't think I'd go back there.
Wow.
It I came home and I'm like, I was telling my dad about it. I'm like, I can't sleep. Like I just kept like hearing that voice and the growl and the conversation. And it was really odd because this is another reason I got into demonology. This quote unquote demon that is known to be there um, got very, I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, inappropriate with me, the
Okay.
conversation. So I'm like, wow, like
Yeah.
I've never had that happen. So I was a little taken back. Like it was very sexual. Like I don't know
Yes.
what I can say on
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Like to the point of making comments about my clothes and what I'm wearing and cleavage. And it was
Right.
insane.
Right.
And I've never had a spirit, demon, whatever you want to call it, do that to me. And I was like, holy.
Now
So
after
that one I will take to the grave.
right. Now after that experience, did it make you change your um way of investigating or your outlook on investigating?
No,
No.
no. I figured it was the location because
Right.
I knew what I was getting into, and I won't say the location, but I knew that this place is extremely popular. I knew that it was owned, previously owned by Satanists. There was a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
rituals going on in there. There's a pentagram on the floor. I knew what I was getting into.
Right.
So I won't go back to places like that again.
Right. Understandable. And for anybody who's ever had that experience, you understand what she's saying.
I mean, they literally have like an altar and yeah. And
Right.
then the new owners with everybody coming in and out because they started doing ghost tours, it opens up even more.
Right. Amplifies
Like the
everything.
more we communicate with the dead and the different energies of people coming in and out, you're just going to amplify it.
Right.
So
I
I
agree.
just want to go back there.
Understandable. Understandable. Now, what would you say to somebody who is interested in getting into the paranormal field?
I would ask them their motive.
That's the best answer I've
I
had so far.
always ask their motive. Why?
Right.
Are you motive is super important because this isn't for everybody. And
I
it's a
agree.
very hard lifestyle. Like, I mean, my God, we pull all-nighters. We're up all night ghost hunting, uh, travel all the time. And it's extremely expensive.
You've got
All
that
the
right.
equipment, the hotels, the flights, this is not a cheap hobby to get into
Right.
at all.
Right.
Like at all.
That's
I mean, my
that's
God, those music boxes are what, like $400 now?
um
Just a little like
yeah, the equipment prices have skyrocketed. I think a
they're
lot
not
more people are buying these things, and
great.
so it's gone up. You can find some like small business creators that are a little cheaper, but you know what I mean. It's overall any piece of equipment you buy is. I don't think I've ever purchased
Oh,
anything.
and use my code at Ghost Stop and you'll get 25% off. It's
Oh, right.
xtreme screams 25.
There you go. There you go. Very good resource too. They have a lot of good stuff on their website.
They
I've
do.
actually purchased through them before. Uh,
They do.
but yeah, I agree with you. I don't think I have anything that costs less than $100, except for maybe
Right.
a voice recorder.
Right.
It's
And now with the
insanely
SLS cameras and the bears, we're just upping it with all
right.
the
Right.
technology. So it's getting more and more expensive. So,
Let me ask
and then
you.
of course, like the infrared cameras and the
Right.
camcorders and the GoPros and
Right.
yeah.
Very expensive. Now, how do you feel about the way our field is progressing as far as technology?
Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it.
I'm a little old school. I'm not gonna lie.
All these apps that are coming out on the phone, I, I'm sorry, but that's BS.
Right.
I don't believe in the apps. I think they're pre-programmed. I don't think they work. I don't think that is a true method of paranormal investigating. And in fact, if you want to be real honest, you don't need any equipment. We're mediums.
Well, yeah.
Go in there and talk to them. Like
Right.
we really don't. But all these apps coming out, I'm like, are you serious?
Right. Right. And to a point, I would agree with you. I think a lot of these apps are definitely for entertainment, so you can scare your
Right,
friends.
right,
Now, I've had a personal experience with one of the apps, one of the few that I think has a potential. And the only reason I think that is because I got an entire name, which,
Necro,
yes,
that's the one. If I'm going to use any of them, I like that one.
right. So I got an entire name of a person through Necro. And once I did the research on the name, found out that that person was buried about a mile from my house.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
I even went to go visit the grave, say hello. If he came to my house, I went to his grave to show some respect, and found out what his nickname was, which is on his gravestone. And the next communication session that I did asked him, if that's really you that came through, what's your nickname? And his nickname came through.
That is like the only app that I've had legit. Yeah.
Right. And I think for the most part, what you're saying is the bits and pieces that are coming through might sound like you're talking to spirit. Um,
Right.
it would lead people to believe that they are, when it's kind of the audio pareidolia effect.
Right. Right.
Unless something is hard, concrete, researchable, evidence, I think you really have to be careful with apps. And in our field, it's not really scientifically
And anyone
accepted.
listening to this, any communication with the dead or opening that door without knowing what you're doing is dangerous. Don't do it.
It can be, absolutely.
You need to know what you're doing. Like, just don't like pull out one of those apps and start talking, especially, I don't know about you, but I never do it in my home.
Um, I have, only because we have a very historical land that I live on. My property is very historical.
No,
I don't
well,
do it inside the house.
that's what I mean. I won't do it in my home
Yeah, not inside. No, no.
because this is my sanctuary after I get back from all the haunted places, and I don't want to like open a portal in my house.
Right. I mean, I get enough transient spirits come through and say hi by themselves. I don't
Exactly.
need to ask them to come, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, inside the house, no. Outside the house, you might know my house goes back before the Civil War, and
Oh
my
wow.
property, and it was a stopping point going towards the battlefields that are here near my house. So a lot of history and activity happens on this house. But as far as inside, I agree. That's probably not the best,
I won't do it inside. Yeah, no.
not the best idea.
No, no.
You never know.
Funny you said that because I sold, I don't mind people knowing. I sold my home in Phoenix and
Hmm.
I moved to a ghost town. So now I'm in northern Arizona. I'm near Jerome. I've done a lot of investigations there, Sedona. Um, the home that I purchased is on Indian res.
Really?
Yeah. And I have
Wow.
like, I'm looking at it. I have a ton of land. I just haven't had a chance to investigate it yet.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's even crazier, you know how water like is a conduit for
Hmm.
paranormal?
Absolutely.
I'm literally on the river. Like my
Oh, wow.
backyard is the river's running right behind me.
Wow.
And it's Indian res. So
Right. Yeah. It's like that stone tape theory, water and limestone and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
kind of is a conduit for that energy.
Oh,
That's kind of
absolutely.
crazy. So, do you have any plans on going outside of the house and maybe doing an investigation?
I want to, dude, I literally closed on this house 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. It's been that recent.
I just moved in. Like I'm looking around going, oh my God, I have boxes everywhere.
Right.
Like I
Right.
haven't even had a chance to do anything. Like,
Right. Right. But it may be in the future.
oh, oh, very soon future. Yeah. Like
Awesome.
that's all I want to do. That's the whole reason I moved up here and gave up my home there and sold there and bought here. Because I
Right.
knew that there's so much around me that that's what I want to do.
Right.
I
That's
mean, Jerome, oh my God, that's a complete ghost town. Like
right. Right.
Jerome, and I think it's like maybe a 4 minute drive for me.
Oh, wow.
Like
That
it's
close.
yeah, I'm right near Jerome.
Dang.
Yeah.
You've kind of hit the paranormal lottery right there.
Literally, I'm literally in the center of I've got Sedona this way, Jerome that way, and I'm in the middle. So
Wow.
between Sedona and everything, all the paranormal stuff there in Jerome, I'm right smack in the middle.
Right. Right. I don't know, living on haunted land myself, do you feel like it's kind of a burden sometimes?
No, I kind of enjoy it.
Yeah.
I do. Like, in fact, just last night I walked outside to have a cigarette. My dog was going crazy, and we have motion detector lights.
Hmm.
Nobody's out there, but it went off like one like facing the land.
Yeah.
So I just started talking to him, like, is anyone out there? Like,
Yeah.
I'm more curious and fascinated, so no, it doesn't bother me. Now, if they were in my home, no,
Understandable. uh
just stay outside.
well, the reason I ask is I've asked that question to other people, and they've had some issues, or they're constantly having to tell them to calm down or something like that. Me myself, on in my house, we have four originals that after the house fire, I asked them, please stay with the land because we're going to build another house here and I want you to come back.
Right.
That were in our home, but you almost build a relationship with them.
Exactly.
You know
Exactly.
what they do. And so when it happens, you just, to say who to say hi to. And,
Yep.
you build almost like
And
a friendship with them.
I was very fortunate because the house in Phoenix was, oh boy, it was bad, like haunted, haunted.
Yeah.
So when I left, I'm like, okay, you got to stay here. You can't go with me. And so far, it seems like they have. They didn't follow me.
Right. It's quiet.
But not that you asked, I also enjoy trying to cross those over that I feel that are stuck. Like
Right.
I'll ask them, do you need help crossing over? So I also try to get them where they belong so that they're not stuck
Right.
here.
Right. Those who want it can get help.
Right.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
do the
some of them I've gotten answers and they're like, no, I like it here. Like
same.
they want to be here, but then others are like completely like stuck.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So have you noticed, by the way, that the ones that seem to be the most stuck are the suicides, the murders, the ones that are like tragic instant deaths?
Um,
Those seem to be the ones that don't either they either don't realize that they're gone or
right.
they get
It has been my experience that not all, but I would say a good majority of them have that almost a shame.
mm-hmm.
They're ashamed of what happened, or uh, you know, uh, but yeah, in for the most part, I would agree. Um, I think in my case, when I do my crossover rituals, I kind of explain to them, you know, they're not going to be judged if they cross over, that they'll get the healing that they need if you're
Right.
ready to do it. I've gotten confirmation before. I've had a spirit say goodbye to me. I asked her, when you cross, please say goodbye over the portal box. And as I felt her crossing, we heard goodbye come out of the portal box.
Aw.
Right. So, we've gotten confirmation. I've gotten confirmation on necrophonics of I see the light.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
is it okay to cross? Is it okay to go? You know,
Yep.
so we
Yep.
we've gotten confirmation. So I think crossing over really does work. I assume that you feel the same way.
Absolutely.
Right. For those that want to, I absolutely help anyone that asks for it, I think in what we do and the kind of people we are and the gifts and abilities we have, that's almost a responsibility for us.
Agree
Would you? Okay.
completely.
I was just
Because if
gonna
you're
say.
gonna do this, then it would be wrong not to. At
Right.
least ask them, is there anything we can do to help you cross over, or are you stuck? Or but actually most of the time they're all happy and they want to stay. They're like, no, I'm good.
I've had several that we've had communication sessions. I do communication sessions so other people can hear what I already hear or feel.
Right,
It's not
right,
the communication sessions aren't necessarily for me. It's for confirmation for other people to see.
right.
Um, but I've come across a few that are like, dude, it's cool here. I don't know what's over there, but it's not so bad here either. And they're just perfectly happy to hang out with you.
Right.
That
Well, and I think that certain people, as far as paranormal investigators, I think some of us are magnets.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I've gone with friends or done collabs and they're like, we didn't get any like evidence here, but we'll go again. I go in there and it gets nuts. And they're like,
Right.
what the heck?
Right. It's almost like we have a searchlight on our head and everybody can see it and they come in there like, oh, this person can talk to me.
Right. I honestly believe that they somehow go, oh, she can see us, or she knows, or like they
Right.
somehow know that we can communicate with them.
Absolutely. Definitely. That's one of the things I tell people all the time is certain people have these abilities and you're like a searchlight in the dark. And
Yes.
you have to imagine, some of these people, especially in my area, they've been passed for hundreds of 100 years or better. And
Right.
God knows how long it's been since they've come across somebody who could actually hear and see and feel them. you know
Exactly.
I've had
Yeah.
instances, I don't know if you've had instances before, where they almost get excited.
Oh yeah. Oh
They're
yeah.
like, oh my God, you can hear me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
They get
It's kind
really
of a cool
excited.
feeling.
How do you feel about them touching you though? That bothers me.
It doesn't bother me at all.
I'm just like, I'll talk to you, just don't touch me. I'm like,
Right. It's I've never asked one to touch me, but I'm not
oh, I
against
have.
it. I typically don't, just because I've been had an instance where that was not a good thing. I
Right.
was injured. So I don't typically ask, but for the most part, when I am touched, I'm not opposed to it, as long as you're being respectful, you're not harming or anything like that.
Right.
Um,
That's why I said I don't think I'd go back there. I did it one time and I started provoking. And I'm like, here I am. What are you going to do? And I got scratched. I'm like,
right,
okay, I'm
right,
done. I won't
right,
ask that again. So I
right,
said, yeah, you can touch me, but yeah, no, no more.
right. And that was kind of, that's my boundaries that I set. If you touch me, I'm okay with it, but it has to be in a respectful manner. If you're
Right.
harmful or
Right.
being a jerk, I don't do that.
Right.
But I don't typically ask. I don't typically ask. Uh, but it doesn't bother me at all. It's when it first happens to you, and I'm sure you can confirm, it's a little weird.
I think it bothers me now only because it wasn't, it's pretty recent that that happened. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably get over it, but I was literally scratched and bleeding. So now I'm like, don't
Right.
freaking touch me. So I'm like, no.
Right, right. So I had the similar experience. I had a little more happen, but yeah. So I that's why I stopped. I didn't ask anymore. I don't ask, hey,
Right.
go ahead and touch me, because we don't really 100% always know what else is there. You might be communicating with one, and there could be other things around that are like, oh, he just invited me. Let me help you out here. You know.
See, that's what people don't understand. Like we go to these locations, and like I said, like say Tom is the one known to haunt this place. I got news for you. When you open that door of communication, you're getting Tom and Mary Joe, and you're getting way
Right.
more than that. So you
Right.
don't, or it could even be something demonic. It's not just Tom.
Right.
So I've learned that the hard way.
Right. And I think that's especially so for people with abilities.
Yes.
We kind of draw them in. So,
Yeah.
it stands to reason that you may not just be talking to Tom.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny, I drew it in so bad that even when I was filming with I hate to bring this up again, but Ghost Adventures, Zach even noticed it. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna use you as bait because they love you.
Oh, hell no.
So what did he do? He locked me by myself in the freaking.
Yeah, no.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not Aaron. Don't be throwing me in there by myself.
Right. Right. Yeah,
It's like, hey.
that would be a hard pass for me. Like,
So it was well by my it was me and a camera guy.
right. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was yeah.
that's some of the things that happen to us are a little unnerving. Uh Let me ask you, what do you think is the difference between, say, a ghost hunter and a paranormal investigator?
Experience.
Hmm.
A ghost hunter. I don't know about you, but I think if you're gonna, I hate labels, but if you're gonna call yourself a paranormal investigator, you're actually investigating. You're not just hunting.
Right.
So experience. I would put like the CEO is the paranormal investigator, and then the ghost hunter is like,
Right. Right. Yeah.
so they're just hunting. So, I mean, they're just trying to capture evidence and that's it. But we're actually investigating and trying to find out what's going on in the history
Research.
and the
Yeah. Yeah. We go well beyond,
above and beyond.
yeah,
Yeah,
well beyond just trying to capture evidence for the
right.
sake of capturing evidence. We're trying to figure out why we're capturing, who we're capturing.
Why and what happened, and are they stuck and crossing them over? And yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Uh, Let me ask you, you've been to a lot of locations.
Oh yeah.
You've been to a
Oh
lot of places.
yeah.
What has been maybe your favorite place that you've been?
Hands down, Queen Mary.
Really?
Yes, Long Beach, California, the
Yeah.
ship.
Yeah.
Amazing. I've gotten amazing stuff there.
Now,
I mean,
is there any particular reason besides just, the activity there? Is there a feeling or a vibe or?
there is definitely a vibe, and I'm going to sound crazy, but I'm going to say it. You walk in and being gifted, you'll get this. You can almost visualize and feel them in their 20s and 30s outfits and dancing and the music and the vibe is very, and doing the Charleston, and like
Right.
you can feel it's a party atmosphere for the dead. Like you can feel it when you walk in, like they're still
Right.
dancing and they're on a cruise and
Like they're having
it,
a good time.
yes, yes,
That's awesome. Yeah,
definitely.
some locations are like that where they almost have a happy vibe to them. Like you just walk in there and you're like, this place just feels good.
Yeah.
It's good
I
energy.
mean, there's one area of that ship, but I mean, it's closed to the public, but that
Yeah.
I went to that is not a good vibe, but for the most part, it's amazing. Like, for
Right.
example, I got my mom to go with me and we did the 100-year thing.
Uh-huh.
So we did 1920s to 2020, and we did the VIP New Year's Eve like thing there.
Uh-huh.
And every like level of the ship was like 20s music and then 30s music, and then like it kept going.
Uh-huh.
You could literally feel the ghosts partying with us. Like
Right.
they were dancing with us and they were having fun and they were,
Right.
I can't even describe it. My mom was like, this is amazing. I actually got my mom to go.
That's
Now, will
awesome.
she go again? I don't know. She wouldn't
Maybe
even
not.
get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. So
Right.
she would wake up, I gotta go pee. I'm like, all right.
Where Let me ask you, what besides the Queen Mary, because here's the weird thing about the Queen Mary is sometimes there's been a lot of people go through there. There's been shows on it.
Right.
People portray it much differently than you're describing. Is that probably because of their personal fear or?
For those people, that's wrong to say. I'm trying to think. Did they have the ability to feel what I felt? Were they gifted? Were
Right.
they? I think a lot of it is they go in there scared because of what we talked about earlier, the YouTube videos on it and the made for TV, and they make it look so scary. No, it was a lot of fun, and the ghosts are a blast there.
Well, here's my question for you, and I feel like I have to ask this, okay?
Mhm.
Um, the
Uh-oh.
attitude and the vibe of a lot of investigators, we can be a little stiff sometimes, myself included. You almost always, I'm going to say 99.9% of the time, have a bubbly, happy attitude when you are on location. Do you
Yes.
think that makes the difference between how the vibe of the place is while you're there, or?
Well, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Do you want to walk in with the lower vibration, or do you want to walk in with your vibration being high? I mean, the lower it
Right.
is, the more at risk you are for God knows what. So
Right.
I would go in with a higher vibration.
Right. And you think that
They seem
changes
to
the
like
feel
it.
of the location. Right. You think that changes the feel of the location by going in there happy and
Not so much as changes the feel of it, but I think it's more welcoming.
oh, okay.
Like, even there's ghosts that are like, they'll just stand in the corner and be like, should
Right.
I talk to her? Should I
Yeah.
not talk to her? And I'm just like, hey.
Right.
So,
You're
but
very easily approachable.
very. And like I said, for my own protection, I keep the vibration high because
Right.
the lower it is, you're more susceptible to God knows what,
Right.
like
Right.
possession and attachment. And they're not stupid, especially anything demonic. They know when you're at your low.
Right. And I
So if you
agree.
go in there and you're just happy go lucky,
Right.
and I've learned also shows zero fear, zero. If
Right.
you're in there and you're like bubbly and happy and just be like, dude, I'm not afraid of you, then
Right.
less happens.
Do you think that comes with experience?
Yeah, I've learned that
Yes.
over time.
less fear. One thing
Because I used to be really scared, and that's when
right,
shit went down.
right. Has your investigative style changed? And the reason I ask that is because over the years, I think my style has changed because of some, I guess, more compassion added to my investigation style. Do you feel like you've changed over your
Yes and
time?
no. The only thing that I've changed is I don't run now.
Right.
I'm like, holy shit, what was that? I'm out of here. No,
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
Right.
Like I said, I dropped the fear. Now I go in all bubbly. I that's about the only thing I've changed.
Right.
Um, oh, and I don't provoke anymore. Very rarely.
Right. I
Very
don't either.
like I go in very respectful now. Like I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'm in your space. So I
So do you think that provoking has a place in investigating, or you
yeah,
should never do it?
no, I'm done. It has a place.
Okay. And why?
When they're being jerks and they how do I describe it? The only time I'll provoke is when they're like clicking something but not talking to me. That's when I
Right.
start like provoking. Okay, I see you here. You're messing with such and such on the table. Talk. Do
Right.
something. Like
Right.
that's when I provoke. Probably shouldn't, but I do.
No, I agree with you. I think there is a place for provoking. I think people do it too much too often,
Yeah.
trying to get that experience of
Oh,
something.
yes, I know somebody that does that a lot.
Well, yeah, we all know people who do that a lot.
That's all I'm saying about that. No,
Right. Uh, if you're provoking and something like that, do you almost expect that, okay, well, I kind of step forward and, bowed out my chest a little bit. Do you almost expect like a worse reaction?
no, because believe it or not, even when I've provoked, I'd say it's 50-50. Half the time they don't even do anything.
Right.
But I have to be more careful because I am 4'11" and I go alone. And like, I don't know if you were in the live in Jerome. I literally, you could audibly hear it, got chased out of the cemetery.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Get out, and I started running because I'm this big. It's in the middle of the night. I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
So I don't want to go provoking when I'm by myself.
Right. Right. That's
Now, when I'm
understandable.
in a collab and I'm like have other people around, then and it cracks me up because people even like on TikTok lives or watching the YouTube videos and they make these, like the keyboard warriors make
Mm.
comments. They're not there. They don't
Right.
understand how
Right.
freaking scary it is to be alone in the pitch dark in a haunted basement playing Ouija board by yourself.
Right.
And then something happens and you freak out. And then they're like, oh, well, you acted. I'm like, you're not here. You're watching it on a screen.
Well,
Like, you
it's not
don't get it.
affecting.
Like,
Yeah. It's not affecting them.
it's scary.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's
I
that
agree.
that
Too
always
many
cracks
people,
me up.
right.
Like,
Too
they
many
don't get
people
it.
judge and until you're in my shoes and have been
You're
the places
right.
I've been, maybe
Exactly.
keep watching and learn some.
Until you're physically there, like anybody,
Right.
that's like watching TV. You're not there. And I've had some hairy, yeah, it gets, and then I just have to laugh because I'm like, if you were sitting here right next to me, you probably would have already ran out the damn door.
Right.
But then they're like,
Yeah.
cracks
Tough.
me up.
We're
The
all tough.
comments, I'm like, really? I'm like, why don't you
Right.
come over here and do it?
Right. I was at South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee,
Oh,
and
really?
it's a great place. If I don't know if you've been there or not,
Not that one.
near Chattanooga. Um, it's a really cool location. There's nothing bad in there that I ever came across or felt. There was a few feelings of sadness at points, but
Those
I was
break my heart.
well,
Get this sad feeling. I'm like, oh,
yeah. Um, there's one spirit in there that I won't give details because I don't want to ruin it for anybody else who goes there. But
all right.
there was a little bit of she wasn't sad, but you could feel that there was a little bit of undertone of sadness
Mm-hmm.
because of the situation of how she passed, and kind of what she passed from. But
But
I was kind of kneeled down on the floor, and we were all in this room and talking, and we were getting, the REM pod was going off. She loved
right,
communicate through the REM pod, and then all
right.
of a sudden I felt a full hand on my shoulder.
Yep. I've
Okay.
gotten those. Yep.
Now there was I was with POV Paranormal, and one of the investigators, Ernie, was standing about 4 feet behind me. And at first I thought he was trying to get my attention for something. So I stood up and I turned around and I said, did you just put your hand on me? Well, he's standing there with his hands in his pockets, full in his pockets. And he goes, "What?" I said, "Did you just touch me? Were you trying to get my attention?" He goes, "My hands
Right,
are in my pockets, bro. No, I didn't touch you."
right.
But that feeling of the entire hand, it
Yep.
didn't feel cold or anything.
No, that's the movie stuff. Yeah, no, it feels
Right.
normal. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yep,
mean, I've had some instances where it was different, but not like ice cold, scary movie kind of hand. But
right.
um, have you ever been touched and felt uh like it was a loving touch, like it was somebody just almost like a comforting touch?
No,
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 you just don't like getting touched at all.
not since I've been scratched. Nope.
Right.
I'm just like the first thing I say when I walk in, I'm just like, dude, I'll talk to you. Just don't touch me. Like don't touch me.
Right. You're not alone. You're not
Like
alone.
they're really gonna listen to me. They can do whatever they want, but I'm just like, please don't touch me.
Right. Right. uh while you're investigating, what is your go-to piece of equipment that you go to every time? What's
My
something?
go-to,
Yeah.
me. Or do you actually mean equipment? I
Like
use my ability first.
right, so so do I, but like
Um,
an actual piece of equipment, what would be something that you wouldn't go to an investigation without having it in your case?
oh, my spirit box. Love the spirit box.
Right.
Spirit box or Ovulus.
Really?
Yep,
See, I'm not a
do.
huge fan of the Ovulus. I just
The older Ovulus, which are like impossible to find now.
right,
Like
like
the
the old five. Yeah.
and definitely recorder. I have caught crazy stuff on EVPs
Hmm.
that we don't hear when we're there. And then we
Right.
get home and we start editing and we're like, what did that just say? Like what?
Right. Yeah. And you listen to it 50 times going,
Yes,
is that, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Put it on the thing to enhance the volume. Yep.
How about a specific technique? Is there any kind of technique? Like, are you a big fan of the Estes method, burst session EVP? Is there a technique that you enjoy doing?
And this method is amazing. I
Right.
in fact did it for the first time with Real Ghost Hunter 1. Very
Oh,
first time.
Brandon. Yeah.
Very first time. And we did something really cool. We actually doubled it. So it was myself and Regina,
Hmm.
and I think it was at Farrar. Yeah, Farrar School.
Okay.
We both had it on. He's asking questions, and so was Ray, Nebraska Paranormal.
Hmm.
And what was crazy is we were answering the same thing. She was saying, but we're both on different frequencies. Like
Right.
we would answer, and it matched.
Wow.
So
Wow.
her and I were like, it was crazy. It was great.
Wow. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Estes for sure. That's like one of my favorites.
I don't do it for too long. I learned my lesson.
I would agree. Being under like that for too long can kind of mess with your head.
And have you done it and thought like 2 minutes went by and it was like 20?
Yes.
That's what scares me. I'm like,
Right.
because I mean, think about it. We have no senses. Like our vision's covered. So you're completely like submerged in it.
Well, you might find this interesting. I have an experiment that I'm going to conduct. Um,
Uh
in April, we're going to Broken Bow Asylum in Oklahoma.
oh. Okay.
where there is some pretty hefty claims there of touching, scratching, some children, stuff like that, right?
Okay.
Which is in my wheelhouse, that whole touching, getting scratched kind of thing. But
So we're going when?
This will be the end of April.
Okay, because I'm inviting myself. So end of
Right.
April, that's my birthday. That'd be awesome.
It is mine too.
Wait, what's your birthday?
30th.
And I'm April Taurus still, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah,
That's why we get along. I
right.
want to go. I
Right.
seriously want to go. I'll fly out.
Let me see what we can do. I'll get with
Okay.
you.
You know the
Uh,
one I really want to go to? Bobby Mackey's.
I've heard conflicting stories on that one.
Kentucky. I've never been. I just want to check it out for myself. Like
Right.
that's one I do really want to do. Oh, and Waverly Place.
I've held off on Waverly because of kind of the legal issues happening around there, but from what I understand,
Wait, something's going on?
it has been for quite some time.
I've been out of the loop moving and stuff, so I didn't know.
Right. Yeah, it's been going on for a while. They
Really?
were having some legal issues with the historical society took over, and it
Oh,
was not
dang.
under the control of the Mattingleys anymore. But from what I understand, that's kind of been settled, and the Mattingleys are back into control.
Oh, wow.
Now I will go to I would go to Waverly again.
I'm really excited if it goes through. This is not 100%, so I don't want everyone to get excited. But I'm supposed to go to Ireland to go to a haunted castle.
Are you crapping me?
So I'm really excited about that. And then they also want to do the Paris catacombs.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So if I go to Ireland, we're gonna hit up Ireland, like Stonehenge,
Right,
and the Paris catacombs. So
right.
that should be that
I'm
should be
jealous.
awesome.
I am jealous. Literally, my entire life, I've wanted to make a pilgrimage to the land of my ancestors and go
Oh,
to Ireland.
yeah.
So
Well,
I I hope it happens for you. I really do, because that would be awesome.
we've been planning this since pre-COVID, and obviously because that happened, we didn't do
Right.
it, and they brought it up again. So it seems like it's still going.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome. I am jealous. 100% jealous.
I'll send you lots of pics.
Yeah, please post them. That's awesome. That's awesome. Especially with going to some of like Stonehenge, just I want to feel the energy is there. So when you go to those places, you have to not just take pictures, but you have to
Right,
describe what you feel, because I need that in my life.
right,
100%.
right. Like
Right.
I have actually missed out on picture moments because I'm trying to be in the moment and
Right.
feel around me. And then I end up leaving and I'm like, oh, dang, I didn't get any pictures.
Right. Right. Right.
I'm like, I was just trying to get the vibe and see what was going
Same.
on.
Right. Uh, Let me ask you a little. I always ask this of every investigator, um,
Okay.
almost every investigator, and it's kind of a crap stirring question a little bit, and it deals with orbs. How do you feel about orbs? And I have to ask.
I would say 99.9, it's dust or a bug
Right.
or a light flare off of your camera.
Okay.
I think orbs are BS. Just saying.
Right. I think that I don't think that they're not real. I just think most of
Yeah,
what
like
people
I
catch
said,
is
like
not
99% of the time,
real.
I think it's very rare that you get an actual one if it changes shape or it's a different color or it's large or it floats or goes down your hall like it's happened in my house. That's a little bit different. But with the equipment that we use, and especially the night vision,
Mm-hmm.
think about it. We're in these old places with dust and bugs,
Old,
and they're
yeah,
attracted to our lights. And
humidity.
I,
Right. Now,
I
have
would
you
say
ever,
that would be a bunch of BS.
right? So you understand why I had to, you know, I have to do a little bit of crap stirring with that question, because I'm in your camp.
Oh
Uh
no, you're good. You're good.
Now, have you ever experienced an actual orb?
I think so, but I don't want to say it was 100%. It was right after my Nana passed.
Oh, wow.
And I brought home some of her belongings, and within 48 hours, that orb was literally right around the belonging. So now, could it have been coincidence? Who knows?
Did you see
Who
this
knows?
with your own eyes?
Yes.
See, I think that makes it a lot more credible.
Yep, I saw it. Like I was just sitting there watching TV and I just glanced over and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like it was right there.
Right.
And I was grieving and I had just lost her and it was literally right above the item that I brought home that belonged to her.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I think actually seeing it with your eyes lends a lot more credence to orbs, but I had to
right.
ask. I had to ask, Jen. I have to
Okay.
stir the pot at least a little bit in this interview, you know?
I
I have to
stir
keep
back. You're good. No.
right. I mean, that's probably the worst, other than the TV show question, that's probably the worst question I stir the pot with. But uh what have you had any experience with, say, haunted objects? Do you collect any haunted objects?
We go get her.
Sure.
Okay, hand.
So you know why I'm asking.
Oh yeah, I'm already ahead of you. Yeah, I know. Hey, hang on.
Okay. So for the listeners out there, I had to ask the question. Of course, when somebody has an object and I know about it, of course I've got to ask the question. So and for those of you watching the video version, if you can't see the mug she is drinking out of, that is the coolest thing ever. It is a skeleton mug, basically. It looks like a backbone for the handle. And
Oh, this?
yeah, I was just describing.
Okay. This is Carrie,
Mm-hmm.
and she is definitely my most haunted object. Like
Okay.
crazy things have happened. Like to the point I had to put her outside in the garage for a while.
Oh, wow.
But now we have an agreement and we have an understanding and now we coexist.
Now, do you keep her out in the open or do you case her, or
She is right next to my bed.
what? Really? Is that wise?
Um, it is now. Like
Oh,
I said, we in the beginning I had an issue with her, but like her backstory is nuts. But
can you tell us about her?
um from what I understand, that she came with a note and the lady was like, please take good care of her, et cetera, et cetera. Um, it seems like because she calls me mommy, it definitely seems like it's a younger child. And then I found out that the girl that owned her passed, little girl.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if I have a child spirit that decided to go into the doll or what,
Right.
but I get called mommy all the time from her. Like
Really?
if I'm doing a spirit box or I talk to her, she calls me mommy.
Wow.
So
Now, is that your favorite piece that you own?
no,
Can you describe your favorite piece?
no.
Okay.
um, I really can't. I have
I understand.
another one, but I can't
Understand.
because I might actually get in trouble for having it. So I, I can't.
Right. Okay. I
I
understand.
acquired it very on
Sketchily.
the DL.
Okay. So,
I kind of just was like, this is gonna go with me, and yeah,
right. So since you deal with haunted artifacts, I hate calling them dolls because not everything that's haunted is a doll.
right.
But having experience with haunted artifacts, do you have an opinion or a theory of how an artifact becomes haunted?
From what I've researched and from what I understand, trying to learn like the whole demonology thing,
Mhm.
Normally, if a spirit, and you may disagree, I'm just telling you this was my research, but normally a spirit can go into this, like anything, a cup, but from what I've read, and oh my gosh, I have tons of books, that's not normally a good spirit. Things that can possess something else or go into something else are normally more on the dark spectrum.
Right.
Because most your typical ghosts are like your mom that passed away, or they don't go into dolls.
Right. They don't want to. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Look at Annabelle. Look at they're not nice.
Right. Right.
So
So
that's
I
just
have,
what I've read and what I.
so and my belief system is a little different. I think they can intentionally go on their own, like you described.
Right.
I think they can unintentionally be placed, which I think
But
is
now
bad.
that's different. Now, if
Yeah.
someone like does something to place them there,
Right.
that's out of their control.
Right. That's that,
Like
like
there's
capture them. Yeah.
rituals that are, yeah.
Right. And then I think sometimes in times of tragedy, or
Yeah.
that energy just gets released so quickly that it almost attaches to the nearest thing.
Right.
It's
Right.
Now, do you believe that you can have an haunted object that's actually just residual energy and not an intelligent haunt?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. You've heard the loop theory, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, like, if we're, because I stayed overnight at a place like multiple nights in a row, and it would be, not get off, I'm talking, rude dog. Okay. So, I have like four of them running around.
I understand.
So, anyway, have you ever noticed that at exactly like 5 o'clock or the same time, it'll do the same routine?
Mm-hmm.
Like if they used to be a doctor, they're like doing their rounds,
Rounds.
or
Yeah,
they're,
yeah.
I think they're just stuck in a loop.
Right.
Like they literally just loop.
Right. And now, do you think that's residual or that they can be intelligent?
That can actually be both, because it depends on what you're, because I mean, just because they're in a loop doesn't mean that they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
That
They
just
just,
could be all that they know, and that's why they're repeating
right.
it.
Right.
So it's just I've had experiences with both. So
Really.
yeah.
See, now I've had experiences, especially here, where we've had there's a lot of residual energy here that resides on the land because, being a stopping point during war, there would be um, camps set up here. People would stay here on the, property or
Right.
nearby this property.
Right.
We've actually had instances where I thought somebody was in my pasture because we were hearing what sounded like chain gang chants.
Oh wow.
And it's happened a couple of times, but to the point where, I'm running out in my underwear with my pistol, wondering who the heck's on my land singing,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
nothing's there. Nothing is there. And it's not like my neighbors are close to me, right?
Right.
So, residual energy, I don't know how you feel, but residual energy is still, it's something that I'm interested in because it can also tell a little bit of a story. Do you think so?
I do, but I have more fun with the intelligent one.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Like, 'cause they'll like answer, like I've literally asked them, "Hey, what color shirt am I wearing?" on an investigation, and they'll
Right.
answer me. So those are fun.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, the only reason why I see investigators, they'll come across something and you can almost clearly tell that it's just residual energy, just things that kind of happen on occasion because of the energy in the area. And I think they push past that to go
Right.
find something that's intelligent. But I have this idea that if you're trying to find all the pieces to the story, that what that residual is doing is
Mm-hmm.
as a piece of that puzzle.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Oh yeah, because we wouldn't even be there if there wasn't. Yeah, like half of the
Yeah.
hauntings we go to are yeah,
Right.
especially if the land is like really old, or the building, or the yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I I've always wondered why so many investigators kind of push past that. And I've always I enjoy that, not as much as intelligent, but just kind of adding to that story of, what's happened.
Even better when you get both. When
Right.
you have residual and then you have an intelligent there. And then it's kind of funny because it seems like the intelligent can almost communicate with the residual, and then you get even more information.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So,
Right. Well, Jenn, I know that you've got lots of stuff on your plate to do, and you probably have lots of unpacking to do, but I just want to tell you.
Not only that, my dog is sitting here looking at me going, "Are you going to feed me?"
Right. Right.
That's why she's barking.
I want to say thank you very much for coming on the show. I'm glad
so
that you
welcome.
accepted the invite. Maybe someday we can get you back on the show, and I hope to see you investigating more. I've missed you quite a bit, to be honest with you.
Oh, I will. I'm getting back at it. Like I said, I had two deaths in the family in the
Right.
middle of moving. I had a lot has happened. So,
Right. I
and
completely
I'll be
understand.
honest, TikTok and the whole paranormal community got a bit much. So the break has been nice.
Right. I understand. I took a little bit of break myself because
I
of
just don't do the drama BS. So I'm like,
right. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I stay out of it as
yeah.
much as I possibly can, because it's just not any good. But I really appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much. I
You
hope
are
to be
very welcome.
back. We love you. And
I love you too.
creators like you are the reason why I am doing this podcast, so we can get your opinions and get to know what you think and how you feel about stuff. So I'm really glad that you came on the show. I can't say enough good about. If you guys are not following this woman, when she gets to go back on her investigations, if you are not on her social media, there is definitely something not right about you. Okay, because this young lady here has the greatest attitude I've seen out of an investigator at her locations.
I do have fun. Like I
Right,
make ghost hunting fun. I
right.
do.
And I think me personally, I have fun watching you and the way you investigate. Like I'm bubbly, like I get kind of bubbly too. I'm watching going, oh God, that's total Jenn, and you're cracking jokes and having fun. And it's I can't wait to see you get back. So for all the listeners out there, if
Getting
you're
back,
not
I
following her,
promise. I
thank
promise
God.
I'm getting back.
Thank God.
Like I said, I just got in the new house. I've been here 2 weeks, but I'm getting back, I promise.
Right, right. Well,
And
I
I hope I
appreciate it.
answered everything, but I mean, shit, we're both learning every day. So
Right, right.
ask me the same questions a year from now and it could change. So
Right, right. It's fun to see your points of view and your experiences and stuff like that, and the things that you do and the things that you care about. We,
yeah.
it's not always something that every listener or every follower always gets to see, because we're doing our job, we're investigating. So it's nice to kind of get to know the people that we're watching sometimes. But thank you so much. Appreciate you being on the show.
You're welcome.
For the listeners, if you'll give me one more minute of your time and listen to the outro, you'll get all of the information on how to contact the show, how to contact paranormal science investigators, where we're at on social media. Jenn, let everybody know real quick again where they can find you on social media so they don't forget.
Instagram and TikTok right now.
Okay. And that's Extreme Screamz.
Yes. XTREMESCREAMZ.
There you go. Go follow this lady. I'm telling you, if you don't, you're nuts. There's something wrong with you. Thank you very much. And until next time, love y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the show. And remember, we want to hear from you. Do you have questions about the paranormal, about mediumship? Do you have a story of an experience you just can't explain? Well, do us a favor. Email us at paranormalscienceinvestigators@gmail.com. And your question or story may end up on the show. And if you'd like to see our video content, you can check us out on YouTube at paranormal_investigators, or on TikTok with the same name, or if you'd like to do Instagram, It's Josh_paranormal_investigators. Come check out our video content of actual paranormal investigations and our everyday content. Just look for the yellow PSI logo. Thank you again. We'll see you on the next episode. Love y'all. Bye bye.